गुड मॉर्निंग मेरे प्यारे बच्चों। आ, सुप्रभात। आह, बहुत ठंडे बच्चों है ना। ओके। आज हम शुरू करेंगे बच्चों नया जिनस फंजाई का, जो सेकंड जिनस है, ठीक है, कॉल्ड राइजोपस, which is generally found as a saprotroph or a saprobic fungus. That means a fungus which loves or which likes the organic nutrition derived from dead substances, dead organic sources। ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, तो सबसे पहले हम क्लासिफिकेशन करेंगे, उसके बाद मॉर्फोलॉजी वाला पोर्शन करेंगे। आगे बढ़ने से पहले मेरे प्यारे बच्चों एक फैक्ट फाइल बता देना चाहूंगा that according to the classification given by Ainsworth Sussman 1972-73, ठीक है बच्चों, they divided division Eumycota into 5 subdivisions। that is, मैं आपको ड्रा करके ही बता देता हूं, ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों। 5 subdivisions जिनका एब्रिविएशन कैसे होगा मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, मजा बी बी, ठीक है। सो out of those 5 subdivisions, in first 2 subdivisions, that is Mastigomycotina and Zygomycotina, the fungal body or the thallus is a mycelium. That is, in all fungi it is mycelium, but that mycelium is aseptic. Septate. In 2 first subdivisions, fungus mycelium is aseptate, means it doesn't bear any septum or septa. However, septa appear in old age when the mycelia grow old, or if it gets somehow injured, or during the formation of reproductive structure. But the healthy mycelium is aseptate and it is always multinucleate. For that, सिनोसिटिक कंडीशन कैन बी साइट। ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं। सबसे पहले हम क्लासिफिकेशन करते हैं। एज यूजुअल बिलोंग्स टू किंगडम फंजाई एंड डिवीजन यूमाइकोटा आउट ऑफ 2 divisions of kingdom fungi proposed by Ainsworth Sussman। One was Myxomycota and second one is Eumycota। ठीक है, so it belongs to division Eumycota because these are true fungi, because they possess well developed cell wall, chiefly composed of chitin, polymer of N-acetyl glucose amine, and it belongs to second subdivision Zygomycotina out of the 5. Maza B B. This belongs to second subdivision, that is Zygomycotina, and we all know that subdivision Zygomycotina has been divided into 2 classes. What are those मेरे प्यारे बच्चों? Z and T, means Zygomycetes and Trichomycetes. So it belongs to class Zygomycetes, to order Mucorales, family Mucoraceae, and its genus is Rhizopus. And if you want to cite the species, okay, species, the most common species is Stolonifer. Species is Stolonifer. Stolonifer. This is the most commonly occurring species. In fact, this species is a parasitic species of Rhizopus. It causes some diseases, a soft rot disease in a sweet potato। ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं। जो क्वेश्चन आएगा एग्जाम में वो डायरेक्टली आएगा बच्चों, या तो मॉर्फोलॉजी ऑफ थैलस ऑफ राइजोपस डिस्क्राइब करो, या स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ वेजिटेटिव थैलस ऑफ राइजोपस एक्सप्लेन करो। ठीक है, जहां लंबा क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा, 3-1 नंबर तक का क्वेश्चन बन सकता है, 3, 3.5, 4 तक। ठीक है बच्चों, So, Rhizopus is generally found as a saprotroph, means an organism which depends on a dead organic source, or a heterotroph, because other than producers, all other organisms, or other than plants, all other organisms are heterotrophs on this earth. So Rhizopus is generally found as a saprotroph which grows on a variety of substratum rich in dead organic material. Variety of substances जो हमारे घरों में हाउस होल्ड में होता है, इंक्लूडिंग फ्रूट्स, वेजिटेबल, ब्रेड, है ना, पिकल, जैम, एक्सेट्रा, इन आ variety of edible items. ठीक है, this fungus likes to grow. Generally it likes to grow on स्टेल ब्रेड, बासी रोटी के ऊपर, बासी ब्रेड के ऊपर ज्यादा उगना पसंद करता है. दैट इज व्हाई दिस फंगस इज आल्सो नोन एज ब्रेड मॉम, एंड बिकॉज इट प्रोड्यूसेस सम ब्लैक कलर्ड रिप्रोडक्टिव स्ट्रक्चर्स. ठीक है बच्चों, दैट इज व्हाई दिस फंगस इज आल्सो नोन एज ब्लैक मॉम. एक बात याद रखना बच्चों, जो फंगस का, राइजोपस का जो वेजिटेटिव बॉडी होता है, जो थैलस होता है, जो माइसीलियम होते हैं, कंसिस्टिंग ऑफ मेनी हाइफे, it is not black in color, it is hairline, but when it reproduces asexually, ठीक है, and it reproduces sexually, those asexual and sexual propagules have some black color pigment in their outer wall or axine, मेरे प्यारे बच्चों. ठीक है, and because those spores, especially the asexual spores called sporangiosspores, are produced in a large number, very large number, and when they are released from their parent body called sporangia, they cover the entire surface of the substratum on which they are growing. That is why the substratum appears black, and thus this fungus has been given a common name called black mold. And because it loves to grow on stale bread, it can also be known as bread mold. ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, आगे बढ़ने से पहले मैं कुछ इमेजेस दिखाना चाहूंगा. ठीक है, दिस इज द राइजोपस ग्रोइंग ऑन, किस पे उग रहा है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों? ऑन अ मेंबर बिलोंगिंग टू फैमिली सोलेनेसी, which is a very common household item, especially while preparing the vegetables. This is Lycopersicum esculentum. पर्सिकम आप लोगों को, क्योंकि आप लोग छोटे टेक्सोनोमिस्ट से हमारे, ये ना मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, हम टेक्सोनोमी पढ़ रहे हैं, टेक्सोनोमी कोर्स पढ़ रहे हैं. हाँ, तो आपको बोटेनिकल टर्म्स भी मालूम होना चाहिए. ठीक है, दिस इज टोमेटो, टमाटर. ठीक है, what do you see? You can see some white color structures. These are the vegetative bodies, and some vertically growing structures. These are special hyphal branches called sporangiospores, at the tip of which sporangia are formed. ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, और टिप पे आपको कुछ ब्लैक ब्लैक स्ट्रक्चर नजर आ रहे होंगे. These are sporangia, inside which numerous minute structures called sporangiospores are formed. ठीक है, तो इसी वजह से ये सरफेस जिसके ऊपर ये उगते हैं काला नजर आता है, इसीलिए राइजोपस को हम ब्लैक मोल्ड बोलते हैं. इस इमेज से थोड़ा ज्यादा क्लियर हो गया मेरे प्यारे बच्चों. दीज टर्मिनल ग्लोबुलर स्ट्रक्चर्स, दीज आर कॉल्ड स्पोरेंजिया, which are a sac-like structure inside which is special asexual spores called sporangiospores are formed. ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, इसको थोड़ा और नजदीक से देखेंगे तो ये कुछ इस तरह से नजर आएगा. These are sporangia and formed on special upright hyphal branches called sporangiopores. And what do you see? The sporangiopores as well as the prostately growing fungal mycelia of Rhizopus, they appear hairline. यहाँ पर ये सफेद दिख रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर इंडिविजुअली देखते हैं बच्चों, दे लुक आइदर लाइक अ ग्लास और वाटर, मीन दे आर एलाइन। ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, अब एक लास्ट इमेज दिखाना चाहूंगा, ये दिखाने के लिए कि जो ब्लैक कलर है वो स्पोरेंजिया के अंदर जो स्पोरेंजियोस्पोर्स बनते हैं उनकी वजह से होता है। ठीक है, सो यू कैन सी हियर सम ब्लैक structures at tip. These are mature sporangia inside which spores are formed. But these are younger sporangia. मेरे प्यारे बच्चों यहाँ देखोगे है ना, एंड दे आर अपीयरिंग अलाइन। इसका मतलब है इस स्टेज पे इनके अंदर स्पोर्स अभी तक नहीं बने हैं। इससे ये साबित होता है कि राइजोपस को ब्लैक माउंट इसीलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि ये ब्लैक कलर्ड एसेक्सुअल स्पोर्स बनाता है, जो कि लाखों की संख्या में बनते हैं बच्चों। ठीक है, और वो पूरा का पूरा सबस्ट्रेटम को कवर कर लेते हैं। ठीक है, एंड दैट सबस्ट्रेटम अपीयर्स ब्लैक इन कलर। Some of the species are parasites. Generally, majority of the species are saprotrophs or saprobic fungi or saprobic types, but some are parasitic. There can be more than one, but here we are citing only one example, that is Rhizopus stolonifer, which is again the most commonly occurring species of Rhizopus. And it causes a disease called soft rot disease on sweet potato, that is Ipomia batatas, which belongs to family Convolvulaceae. So this is the image. This is Ipomia batatas, you know, and fungus is growing here, and it causes a soft rot disease. You can see black areas covering the surface. That means at this stage, fungus has reproduced asexually, and it has produced uncountable number of minute non-flagellated spores called sporangiospores. One more fact file मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, जो फर्स्ट सब डिवीजन था मेस्टिगोमाइकोटिना, वहां पर फ्लैजिलेटेड स्ट्रक्चर्स बनते हैं, रिप्रोडक्टिव स्ट्रक्चर्स। ठीक है, वो सिर्फ फर्स्ट सब डिवीजन मेस्टिगोमाइकोटिना तक ही रिस्ट्रिक्टेड है बच्चों। फंजाई के किसी किंगडम फंजाई के किसी और सब डिवीजन में कोई फ्लैजिलेटेड स्ट्रक्चर नहीं बनते। अच्छा मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, ना तो गैमीट्स और ना ही एसेक्सुअल प्रोपेग्यूल्स। ठीक है, देयर आर नो सच flagellated structures in the four subdivisions, that is Zygomycotina, Ascomycotina, Basidiomycotina, and Deuteromycotina, and these are found only in first subdivision, that is subdivision Mastigomycotina. Vegetative thallus is a mycelium as usual, and a mycelium is formed by germination of either asexual spores called sporangiospores, and because these sporangiospores are non-motile or non-flagellated, they can be categorized as aplanospores. ठीक है बच्चों, प्लेनोस्पोर्स का मतलब होता है the spores which have flagella or which can move by their own, which show motility, but when A is added in front of this, it becomes opposite. That means it is non-motile because it has no flagella. Or the mycelia may germinate from a perfect stage spore or the sexual spores called zygospores. The sexual spore or the perfect stage spores in subdivision Zygomycotina are called zygospores. एक और फैक्ट फाइल में बताऊंगा पहले ही, क्योंकि जब हम रिप्रोडक्शन पोर्शन पढ़ते हैं तो जाइगोस्पोर हम एनकाउंटर जरूर करेंगे। ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, तो जाइगोस्पोर इट इज अ फ्यूजन प्रोडक्ट ऑफ टू गैमेट्स। ठीक है, दैट मींस दिस इज अ परफेक्ट स्टेज स्पोर और द सेक्सुअल स्पोर कंसिस्ट ऑफ two layers in time and exine. Exine is highly sculptured and accumulate here, and inside this spore we have two nuclei coming from two opposite strands. That means zygospore is not a diploid structure. Generally हम क्या बोलते हैं, the sexual spore should be diploid because it is a result of syngamy or the fertilization. But in Rhizopus, out of the two processes involved in Gametic fusion, that is, first one is cytogamy and second one is karyogamy. Here cytogamy occurs, means cytoplasm fuse, but nuclei do not fuse. That means karyogamy is delayed in rhizopus. मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया है बच्चों, जो सेक्सुअलिटी है फंजाई के केस में वो बड़ा टिपिकल जैसा है, ठीक है, वो टिपिकल बिहेवियर ये शो करता है। किसी और ऑर्गेनिज्म में ये बहुत कम पाया जाता है, और किसी भी ऑर्गेनिज्म में, ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों। दैट मीन्स द जाइगोस्पोर इज नॉट अ डिप्लॉइड स्ट्रक्चर। वी कैन से जाइगोस्पोर इज अ structure which is dikaryotic structure, means it carries two nuclei from opposite state, and we can say that it is a heterokaryotic structure because one nucleus comes from one state and another nucleus comes from another state, and these zygospores become diploid, no doubt, but just before germination by the fusion of these two opposite strand nuclei or by karyogamy. So remember this fact, my dear students. आगे बढ़ते हैं मेरे प्यारे बच्चों। माइसिलियम इज hyalin, लॉन्ग, इरेगुलरली ब्रांच्ड, एसेप्टेड, और एसेप्टेड जहां भी होगा उसके साथ एक टर्म जरूर यूज होता है, दैट इज इट इज मल्टीन्यूक्लिएट और सिनोसिटिक, ठीक है, बिकॉज aseptate condition results in a multinucleate condition, because an aseptate condition results by repeated nuclear divisions, that is cytokinesis, but without by karyokinesis, that is by breakdown or by division in nucleus, but without cytokinesis. That means cytoplasm doesn't divide, and cytoplasm divides only by formation of a septum between the freshly formed cells. So no septa is formed, thus the resultant structure is aseptate multinucleate, and it is here in case of the members of subdivision zygomycotina, and thus also in the members of genus Rhizopus, or also in the species, many species of genus Rhizopus, and the branch of each branch or the branches of the mycelia or the thallus are called hypha singularly or hyphae plural. So this is the first structure you have to draw, a part of mycelium showing a multinucleate aseptate sinusitic condition. ठीक है बच्चों, because it has many nuclei which I have shown here in blue color. ठीक है, and there are no septa. However, septa appear during old age or at the time of injury or at the time of reproductive structures formation. Septa appear at the time of reproductive structure formation, or when the thallus gets injured somehow, or when it grows old. Young mycelia grow beneath the substratum. Beneath the substratum and consists of two types of branches. One is a stoloniferous hyphae and one is rhizoidal hyphae. The stoloniferous hyphae, they grow prostately, and at distances they produce some branched special hyphae called rhizoidal hyphae. ठीक है बच्चों, which helps this mycelium or the thallus to remain attached to substratum, and also it helps intake of food. ठीक है, ये मैं आगे के स्लाइड में बता देता हूं। सो दिस इज सेकंड स्ट्रक्चर यू हैव टू ड्रा। ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, वेजिटेटिव कंडीशन में इसमें सिर्फ दो तरह के ब्रांचेस नजर आते हैं बच्चों। वन ब्रांच इज स्टोलोनिफेरस ब्रांच, स्टोलोनिफेरस हाइफा which runs beneath the substratum and grows horizontally, and at distances it produces some branched special hyphae called rhizoidal hyphae. These rhizoidal hyphae help the plant, the mycelium, the thallus to remain attached to substratum, as well as they secrete some digestive juices into exterior environment. As a result, the complex organic substances break down into simpler forms और इन सोल्यूबल फॉर्म्स हम जनरली ऐसे बोलते हैं, एंड दोस डाइजेस्टेड organic material or the soluble organic material that is taken up by the fungus by absorption through general body surface of a rhizoidal hyphae. ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, और जो ये स्टोलेनिफेरस हाइफा है बच्चों, द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन टू rhizoidal hyphae is called a stolon, and when this fungus reproduces asexually, the thallus comes out. The stoloniferous hypha portion of the thallus comes out onto surface, whereas the rhizoidal hyphae they remain embedded in substratum, and it produces some unbranched special upright branches called sporangiophores, and at the tip of which a sac-like structure called sporangia or sporangium is formed, which then produces asexual spores called sporangiospores. Stoloniferous hyphae grow horizontally and beneath the substratum when young and produce short branched rhizoidal hyphae towards lower side. Part of stoloniferous hypha between two rhizoidal hyphae is known as stolon. On maturity or during asexual reproduction, stoloniferous hyphae come out onto surface, grow horizontally, and produce special upright branches or hyphae. Upright unbranched branches are unbranched, called a sporangiophores, and sporangiophores produce sporangia at their tip. Okay, here it is mentioned. Sporangiophores are unbranched and formed just opposite to rhizoidal hyphae towards upper side, and are asexually reproducing branches which grow vertically upwards and produce sporangia at their tip. So this is the structure which you have to draw. Third structure, ठीक है बच्चों, just the stoloniferous hyphae they come out onto surface while reproducing asexually, while the rhizoidal hyphae they remain embedded, and stoloniferous hyphae produce special unbranched upright branches called sporangiophores just opposite to rhizoidal hyphae on upper side, and these sporangiophores then bear or they produce terminal sporangia. ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, and the space between or the distance between two consecutive sporangiophores or the rhizoidal hyphae is known as stolon. This is it. Rhizoidal hyphae secrete digestive juices because digestion occurs extracellularly. That helps to break down the complex organic materials into simpler forms. ठीक है, और हम बोल सकते हैं कि in digested forms or into soluble forms, which then is taken up by absorption through general body surface of a rhizoidal hyphae. Cytoplasm contains a large number of nuclei because it is multinucleate, and all other eukaryotic organelles except photosynthetic apparatus, that is chloroplast or chromoplast. एक और बात याद रखना है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, that besides cytoplasm, besides nuclei, cytoplasm contains large number of small sap vacuoles. Sap vacuoles, बच्चों, not gas vacuoles. Presence of gas vacuoles is the feature of prokaryotic organisms. ठीक है, in eukaryote generally there is sap vacuole which coalesce, which एक बार फिर से रिपीट करता हूं, जब माइसीलियम यंग होता है बच्चों, ठीक है, उस समय में छोटे छोटे बहुत सारे सैप वैक्यूल्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा नंबर में होते हैं, in such a huge number that the cytoplasm is called a vacuolated cytoplasm. मेरे प्यारे बच्चों ये याद रखना है. But when the mycelium grows old, all these small shaped vacuoles they coalesce, they fuse up and make a single large central vacuole. ठीक है, ये बात याद रखना है. और जो वेक्यूल होता है बच्चों एक फैक्ट फाइल, क्योंकि आगे जब हम एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन पढ़ेंगे वहां पर काम आएगा. जो ये वेक्यूल्स हैं, वेक्यूल्स आर नथिंग बट स्मॉल सेक लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स which contain fluid inside and surrounded by a phospholipid bilayer. ठीक है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, जो प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन का जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है which consists of phospholipid bilayers, same structure is present in a vacuole, the membrane of vacuole, which is also called tonoplast. So tonoplast is nothing but a phospholipid bilayer. ये फैक्ट फाइल याद रखना है मेरे प्यारे बच्चों. And cell wall consists of, lastly, cell wall consists of chitin and chitosan. There is no cellulose, ठीक है, but instead fungal cellulose is there. अब मेरे प्यारे बच्चों इनमें से कौन से केमिकल को हम फंगल सेल्यूलोज बोलते हैं? फंगल सेल्यूलोज. ठीक है बच्चों, सेल्यूलोज क्या होता है? बीटा 1,4 ग्लूकेन. That means cellulose is a polymer of glucose, a homopolymer consisting of glucose which are joined by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkages. ठीक है. Similarly, chitin is also formed by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkages, but the monomer unit in chitin is a modified form of glucose, and that is acetylated glucose. ठीक है बच्चों, सॉरी, an acetylated glucose amine, amino group, an acetylated amino group is added to glucose and the monomer unit becomes an acetylated glucose amine, and chitin is the polymer of an acetyl glucose amine which are linked by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Same way as is done or as occurs in cellulose. That is why chitin is also called fungal cellulose. एक ये फैक्ट फाइल याद रखना है. And cytosine also is a polymer of an acetyl glucose amine. याद रखना है बच्चों. But linkage is different. And I have no information. है ना, sorry to say. ठीक है. Otherwise, cytosine is also a polymer of glucose amine. Glucose amine means to a glucose and amino group is added, and that amino group is an acetylated amino group. So this was it about today's topic मेरे प्यारे बच्चों. कल मिलते हैं अगले टॉपिक के साथ जो कि रहेगा एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन इन राइजोपस. तब तक खाते पीते रहिए, पढ़ते रहिए मेरे प्यारे बच्चों. हैव अ नाइस डे.